community event, international lecture series, study based of academic and best practice with the theme Indonesia and Malaysia Economic Trend 2023 with the famous speaker today, Ibu Kustri Andiarini SAMSE, CSRS dan CSRA, senior lecturer, College University ST Indonesia Jakarta with the topic and policy. And then TS Dr. Yusri bin Arshad, Senior Lecturer, Faculty of Technology Management and Technopreneurship, University Technology Malacca, Malaysia. Therefore, we start with the pray first. Mari kita mulai dengan berdoa sebentar dengan kepercayaan masing-masing. Sila, Bismillah. Thank you very much. Once more, berjuta terima kasih kepada kedua speakers and then kepada participant, student from Jakarta, from Bogor, Bekasi, Indonesia, Malaysia. Biasa juga dari Southern Thailand mengikuti karena kami pun membagi tahu kepada mana-mana kampus. Therefore, the second, mari kita lihat apa itu ASEAN lagi. Let's look the presentation from Ibu Kustri Andiarini. Time is yours now, please.
Okay, I will share my.
Yeah, you can use
slide. Yeah.
Okay, right now the screen is very clear about your cover.
Presentation. Okay.
Yes, good.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. I'm a lecturer, senior lecturer from Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Ekonomi Indonesia, and for about 26 years, I teach at Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Ekonomi Indonesia. Like yesterday, Mr. Teresa.
Senior lecturers.
Okay, senior lecturer. Okay, I want to talk about Indonesian tax policy trend from 2020 until 2024. Before I talk about trend tax policy in Indonesia, I will show you what are the tax problem in Indonesia. We can see about the tax ratio, tax compliance, and tax administration. Tax ratio in Indonesia, trend to trend, trend from year to year, we can see like this. But before we see the tax ratio in Indonesia, we have to know what Indonesian government say about tax ratio. Tax ratio is tax to DGP. And government in Indonesia see tax on measurement to tax ratio. A narrow sense is center tax revenue, including taxes, custom, and excise. Yeah, narrow sense only center tax revenue. And in broad sense, this is recommended by OECD, Organization of Economics Cooperation Development. Tax measured by revenue paid by citizens to the state includes all tax revenue, non-tax state revenue derived from the natural resources sector, and local taxes. Jadi broad sense atau dalam pandangan luas all tax, including non-tax, penerimaan bukan pajak. In narrow sense, only central tax, pajak pusat. So if we take a look our tax ratio in broad sense, here 2 digits. From 2008 until 2016, still 2 digits. But if we talk about narrow sense, only central tax, we can see the tax ratio in Indonesia from 2 digits in 28 Until now, in 2020, only one digit, 8%. What ideal tax ratio? The ideal tax ratio is 12.5 until 15. Their suggestion by IMF, but Indonesian not like that. And if we can see the data from OECD, and I take a look Asian country, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand, we can look Indonesia in a blue color. The tax ratio is the lowest in Asia, the lowest tax ratio. That's the problem. Tax ratio in Indonesia is the lowest in the Asian country. And the second problem is tax compliance. Tax compliance in Indonesia. What about tax compliance? Tax compliance in Indonesia measured by tax return submitted divided registered taxpayer. If we see about the tax compliance here, we can see the percentage is high, but there is a problem here. What is the problem? If we can see this good, yeah, and 84% for 2021. But if we see about tax effort in Indonesia, in 2018 has only reached 43% to 59% of its capacity. Why is that like that? Registered taxpayer. Registered taxpayer contain two company and workers atau individual taxpayers. The data last year, workers in Indonesia is 131 million. And the company in Indonesia is 22 million. So if we want the potential registered taxpayers is 156. Here, only 19 million. Yeah. So there is more taxpayer not registered. And now in Indonesia, taxpayer compliance in Indonesia is enforced compliance. Enforced. Jadi melakukan kepatuhan kepajakannya itu terpaksa masih. That's the problem. And about tax administration. Now the system is outdated. Because the system is outdated, system have to manage compliance risk. Compliance risk. So we have to make a new system. And the problem is increasing the volume of quality information and data from implementation of automatic exchange of information. We have a lot of data, but the system is outdated. That's the problem. So we have problem on system. This is a 5 strategy goal that Directorate General Pajak gave. The strategy goals is tax policy, state revenue, organization and human resources, information system, and internal control. They want this good. What about tax policy in Indonesia? From 2020, Indonesia have a new law on harmonization of tax regulation. And Indonesia have a core tax administration system. This is new in Indonesia, core tax administration system. Okay, we see about harmonization tax law. Harmonization tax law, the systematic is here. Harmonize between general provision and taxation procedures, income tax, value added tax, disclosure, voluntary disclosure program, and then next carbon tax, excise. This is a systematic of uh, harmonization tax law.
Oh, salah, ini 29. Salah, gue ngasih ke mahasiswa.
Okay. Okay, I continue. The principle of tax harmonization tax law is justice, simplicity, efficiency, legal certainty, benefit, and national interest. And the purpose of the harmonization tax law is increase growth and support accelerated economic recovery, optimize state revenue, realizing a fair taxation system and legal certainty, and for implementing administrative reform, consolidated taxation policies, and expand the tax base. And the fifth, increase taxpayer voluntary compliance. That's the purpose. So if we take a note about the harmonization tax law, one, first, revenue mobilization amid economic recovery. The system is in line with international concepts and practices. And the third, the tax burden is supported more equitable. The fourth, a new paradigm of compliance. The fifth, alignment with the development of digitalization and globalization. Okay, this is mobilization revenue. The aim is to solve the problem of tax ratio and tax buoyancy and revenue target. And the second, we can see about the rearrange of our tax law, such as exception in value added tax and tariff and tax bracket in a personal income tax. And then the third, equality about the tax burden with the uh, new new policy about using NIC number identity citizen as a number identity of taxpayer. And then there is new paradigm from enforcement compliance to voluntary compliance. And the fifth, they're in line development, digitalization, and globalization with Indonesia is actively making policies to prevent tax leakage due to digitalization. How Indonesia want to uh, prevent tax leakage? Okay, by prepare SIAP or core tax administration system. Core administration system. What is core administration system? Okay, we can listen Directorate General Pajak say. Okay. Wait a minute. I open the. Wait. I want to share something.
besar penerimaan negara dengan kontribusi pada tahun 2000 mencapai 73% dan pembangunan nasional, tapi juga untuk melanakan perlindungan sosial terhadap pengaruh Indonesia.
Dengan pandemi kita membutuhkan ketahanan fiskal yang kuat dengan BN sebagai instrumennya. Dia merupakan struktur APBN kita. Modern, efektif, teknologi informasi merupakan komponen penting dalam membangun sebuah sistem administrasi perpajakan yang andal. Digunakan oleh DJP saat ini menjalankan proses bisnis perpajakan modern.
SIDJP telah berusia lebih dari 15 tahun. Dibangun menggunakan desain sistem informasi yang sudah usang, tidak dapat dan membutuhkan banyak aplikasi pendukung lainnya seperti AproWeb, Derik, Simara, dan sebagainya, sehingga menjadi tidak terintegrasi. Selain itu, ketahanan dan kestabilan infrastruktur makin berkurang karena penggunaan teknologi yang out of date. Jumlah melata dan jumlah bata terjadi dan jauh tidak
Okay, so I'm sorry, my connection is poor. Sebentar.
Bagaimana rancang ulang proses bisnis dilakukan? Coach menjadi kesempatan bagi pemerintah memutuskan untuk memperbarui sistem inti melalui implementasi sistem yang tersedia secara komersial atau commercial off the shelf. Coach menjadi kesempatan bagi DJP untuk melakukan perbaikan fundamental melalui rancang ulang proses bisnis agar sesuai dengan international best practice, serta memiliki kapabilitas administrasi perpajakan modern. Bagaimana rancang ulang proses bisnis dilakukan? Siapa yang akan melakukan rancang ulang proses bisnis? Siapa saja yang terlibat dalam implementasi sistem inti yang baru? Dan bagaimana pula sistem tersebut akan memengaruhi Anda dan pelaksanaan pekerjaan Anda? Saksikan video berikutnya untuk mengetahui lebih lanjut.
Okay, that's the video about the SIAP. what is benefit of core tax administration system? Benefit for taxpayer is there is an account of taxpayer at the portal of DGP. Quality service, and then potensi sengketa itu berkurang, low cost, low compliance cost, and a feature of DGP, there is integrated system, less manual work, more productive, more capability, increased capability of officer, and for the institutional of DGP, more credible and more trusted, more accountable, high compliance, and performance, increased performance, and for stakeholders, the data in real time and valid, and increase quality of a job and function. That's a benefit of a core tax system, a core tax administration system. And how is transformation process business? Now, the process business existing is here, not integrated, multi-application, and not all core function. We can see there is a registration and an application for service, application for payment, application for penyuluhan. There is multiple application. And then after that, we want to legacy development adapting new system. This is phase bridging. What is phase bridging? There is 3C, RAS, CRM, TAM. What is this? Let's see. 3C, click call counter. There is a program, click call counter, for a taxpayer in application mobile. And RAS, revenue accounting system. Revenue accounting system is a taxpayer account module revenue accounting system. Aplikasi TPA ini dikembangkan untuk kebutuhan Dijen Pajak, ya. Jadi untuk mencatat saldo-saldo pajak yang masuk, kemudian saldo pajak yang sudah dibayar sesuai dengan pembayar pajak, we use revenue accounting system. On DJP, ya. Compliant risk management, CRM. Compliant risk management function is to menegakkan hukum dan penilaian. Kemudian CRM ini menjadi indikator penentu dari wajib pajak prioritas yang akan dilakukan tindakan penegakan hukum atau penilaian. All of this is one system. And the fourth, taxpayer account management or TAM. Yeah, taxpayer have an account in the portal core tax administration. Because of that account, taxpayer can register, can pay the tax, can fill the tax return. Only one account, only one system, only one portal. Okay. And the end of transformation for process business is process business to be. This is one. This is the tax administration one. Integrated, single application, data analytic, and all core function in one system. In one system that DGP want to be. And we can see with the one system, with the one portal, taxpayer can registration. Taxpayer can fill tax return. Taxpayer can pay, and there is compliance, and there is extensification, collection, penyidikan, keberatan, banding, all of this only one system. And the process is, we can see the process, the detailed design, April to September 2021, detailed design of this system, build, test, and training for the officer DGP, June 2021 until May 2023, and deploy on October 2023. And support system in January until December 2024. So the conclusion of this core tax administration, if this is all used, we have to more compliant, because if there is trace on digital, you have to pay tax.
Wow.
That's all. The end of
Thank
my
you very
presentation.
much. Very interesting presentation about the tax policy in Indonesia. Thank you, Ibu Kus. Ladies and gentlemen, right now before the second speaker sharing by the famous speaker, the second speaker, TS Dr. Yusri bin Asad, we can look first the reference.
Assalamualaikum and good morning.
Salam.
Okay, so for those who have just joined us,
Right.
let me recoup lah a little bit about myself and UTM lah. First
Yes.
of all, wow, the song very nice, very lively, ya, very lively, ya, Ibu, oh,
Yeah.
dahsyat lah, oh, menarik juga lah. Saya terpegun
Ibunya
jugalah dengan
berjiwa muda.
perwatakan Ibu kan, tetapi minat lagu macam itu kan, macam satu tarikan lah, macam, tapi bila saya tengok kemeriahan menari di luar tu, memang rasa ada feel lah kan, ada feel
Yes,
dia dapat menarik generasi yang baru ni kan. Okay, dan saya ucap tahniah lah kepada Prof lah yang telah found apa ALC ni kan, Gumilang ni. Memang saya tengok memang hebat lah dia punya aturan dia kan, banyak dia punya network
Yes, relax and fun.
Yeah. Relax and fun. So harapnya ini berjaya lah pada masa depan
Amin, amin.
Okay, jadi saya share screen sekejap
Okay, no problem. Can. Okay, right now it's very clear your screen. Global and Malaysia economic outlook.
Okay, saya perlu slideshow ke tak perlu?
Boleh, bagus, very good.
Slideshow juga
Okay, very clear.
Okay. About me a little bit and UTM or my faculty which is FPTT. Okay, I'm currently a senior lecturer in the faculty. We have begun our first cohort in 2010. The first cohort, which is these three, Bachelor of Technology Management, Innovation Management, Bachelor of Technology Management, High Tech Marketing, and Bachelor of Technopreneurship. So we have graduated the first cohort in 2014. Okay, and this is number 3 is the latest addition to our program, which is Bachelor of Technology Management, Supply Chain, which have been in 4th year already. Okay, the student is in 4th year already. That means we have started in 4 years before lah. Okay, and this is our undergraduate program. But for master program, we have Master of Business Administration by thought course, and Master of Technology Innovation, Technovation, which is thought course also plus a little bit project lah. So actually we have many Indonesian students lah, where we did collaboration with Indonesian universities, and then they come here to study on the Master of the Innovation lah. Okay. On top of that, we have PhD as well. PhD. Right now we don't have DBA. We have Doctorate Technology Management, which is almost similar to DBA lah. And the common one, which is PhD, by research, by full research. So actually we have bachelor, master, and also PhD program. Okay, so this is the picture, a little bit blur, This is the picture of UTM at the
Yes.
moment. Yeah, this
Nice.
is Campus Indo, main campus,
Yes. Nice.
where
Nice.
we have the small pond,
Plastic.
small pond in the middle, whereby all these faculties or buildings are around the small pond. And then we have our stadium, we have our auditorium, a big auditorium. This is the mosque in the middle. This is the main campus. Okay. Actually, we have 3 campuses previously. This is our previous faculty in Kampus Bandar in Melaka, Bandar Melaka. Okay. And now we have moved already. APTT has moved already from here to here, which is Campus Technology in Ayer Keroh. This is the second campus. So here we have engineering as well as APTT lah, which is management school. All right, now let's look at our topic today. Now, what is happening to the economy in the world today? Can you figure out? So I'm sure all of you, undergraduate students, you have already been equipped with theories, right? You have learned about the principles, the concept, the ideas about economy, Y equals to AD, right? The concept of income equals to input and output, right? Minus tax, minus what Ibuku has already explained the taxation part. Okay, so that is the general equation of economy. Right now we are talking about GDP, which is the Y, with the Y. So what is happening at the world today? We see lately, because of the 2 years, we say pandemic, COVID, that has already turned our global economy to something which is unimagined before, right? Nobody imagined we are going to have COVID-19. Okay, suddenly, the economy around the world has become stagnant. We could not go up because of the MCO. From the first MCO, which is a lesser MCO, we are allowed to move around a little bit, but then it becomes tighter and tighter until we have full MCO for about 1+ year. So what happened to our economy during that time, where we see that all our daily chores or daily activities have turned to online, like what we are doing now. We could not meet face to face because of the security. So because of that, we have seen in the media, in social media, that the world has become very clean. That is also economy. That is also economy. The world has become very clean, where you see the factory has become almost idle at that time. You see the sky. The sky is very clear, and then the river has become very clean. Okay, that is also economy, social economy. The effect of the industrial activities. What happened to the countries, right? So I'm sure that, like, Indonesia is very big country and a lot of population, right? So you have benefited a lot, because Indonesia is also I mean, a little undertapped, where you have many grasses lah. I mean, many places, places that are still not touched that have not been developed yet, because like Semenanjung Malaysia, we have our country, Semenanjung Malaysia has already been I mean, there's no more forest, no more forest for us, unlike the Sabah and Sarawak lah. Okay, that is a very big potential. Okay, now let's see. 2021. 2021 is we say end of FMCO 2021 in Malaysia lah, in Malaysia. This is the report by IMF. They say that a tentative recovery in 2021. Obviously, in 2019 and 2020, we have already gloomy in 2020 and 21. But then in 2021, IMF claimed that there is a tentative recovery. But what is going to happen in 2022? It is anticipated again that we are going to have a gloomy economy in 2022 because of many risks forecasted. Like Ibu Kus have already mentioned earlier, many things, many problems have already popped up in the recent years. Okay, especially the global output. The global output contracted in the second quarter. So what is going to happen in the third quarter and fourth quarter? Obviously, in the first quarter, we are seeing that it is lesser than the second quarter. So what is going to happen in third and fourth quarter? The report is not out yet for the third quarter and fourth quarter. What are the reasons for this global output? Because of these two major superpower in the world, except the US lah kan. We say that China and Russia are the main backbones in the world economy nowadays. Not forgetting, today I've got a video from my friend in the WhatsApp group.
Your screen kena move atau masih di second screen?
Oh, you cannot see?
Belum move lagi dari yang awal.
Not yet. This is the first.
All right, please.
I'm still here.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so today I've got a video from my friend saying that India, which is also a large population country, they say that India people have bought many properties in London, in the UK, and then the Indian American also, they have already acquired a lot of properties in the US as well. Okay, and then the Indian woman, they hold the highest number of gold in the world. Very interesting, data to show that India is also another big boy in the world economy. So they forecast that the downturn will be a result of the China and Russia, as well as the US consumer spending. It's a bit low It's a bit low in 2022. Okay, another causes is the inflation, which is higher than expected. Because we are just passing the pandemic COVID. Now we are in the endemic period, but we see the world is facing higher inflation, which is unexpected, because like in Malaysia, because I have a koperasi. I'm not sure what it's called in Indonesia. We have koperasi. So we have koperasi and persatuan, especially on the durian musangking, okay, and duri hitam. Because I'm the chairman and the deputy chairman, So we are facing many higher costs of agriculture input, because in 2019 when I buy, or my friends or the petani in Malaysia, they buy fertilizer, for example, they buy the piping system, for example, very cheap. But in 2022, in the early year of 2022, the price already soared twice or triple very fast. And then in 2022, the prices changed very often. The kedai baja, or manufacturer here, they increase the prices every quarter. Okay, that caused the higher inflation. And then we also see that there is an issue on the hayam chicken in Malaysia. I'm not sure whether you are aware or not, but in Malaysia there is a big issue on the chicken prices, and then the chicken the chicken supply lah, because of the higher prices, because the farmer of the chicken farmer, they say that the costs are very high, and then they cannot sell very cheap in Malaysia, so they want to export to Singapore. Okay, there is a big issue on that because of the inflation. The cost of rearing the chicken become higher, and then they cannot sell in Malaysia, which is subsidized food, because in Malaysia chicken and other staple food are subsidized by the government. Because of this discrepancy lah between the demand and supply, the farmer and they are a little bit reluctant lah, because they have the persatuan, and then they discuss among themselves, and then they think that the price offered in the domestic field is a bit lower compared to they sell to Singapore lah by export, which is double. So there's a bit political involvement lah during that time because of this inflation. In Malaysia, everything lah because of the rises in import prices, as well as the higher US value, then the prices in Malaysia become very expensive. That's why in Malaysia we have a lot of inflation lah at this moment, but still manageable lah. And then another factor is about the increase in minimum wage. From 900 earlier to 1,500 this year. That caused the higher cost of manufacturing, and cost to the majikan as well lah, cost to the company as well lah. So that leads to inflation lah in Malaysia. But how to overcome this? How to overcome this this inflation in Malaysia? We are going to see in the last section. Okay, we are not seeing inflation in Malaysia only. We see that in US also, and major European countries as well, they also face very high inflation, and then they have to change the policy, especially on the monetary policy and also fiscal policy to manage the inflation and economy. This is the worst thing. The worst thing, we see that China has already they want to become the number one in the world, but then because of the pandemic, we see that we anticipate China economy is going to be steady in 2022, but then the anticipation is false. The China is already slowing down in their economy. So what is going to happen on the effect of the slowdown in China? Okay, because of the COVID, one thing, and then the further slow down in China, another thing. And the recent one, which is the war in Ukraine and Russia, that adds a lot of things to the world economy. Okay, so this is the graph on the real GDP growth. We see PH, IDs, SG, EA, TW, and the rest. Okay, this is the note. GDP for second quarter of 2022 are advanced or prelim estimates only, except for several countries. The inflation figures are aggregated across major countries based on their share of global growth. So you can see that the inflation, even though advanced economies also, they have inflation, which is going up. We predict or we forecast is not going to go down very soon, very fast, because we can see all three, advanced economy, world economy, and so emerging economies, all the trends are going up. It's not going down so soon. So we forecast this is the first quarter 22, the red color, okay, very high. But in second quarter 22, you see it's a bit lower here, going down. So you can imagine yourself in the third quarter and fourth quarter, because the GDP is not going to be double or triple so fast. Okay, these are the reasons attributed to the global growth development, which is the high inflation amid geopolitical tension. And then the lockdowns in China affected growth, but it is picked up when the economy reopened. Then the moderation in goods trade following shift to services as most economies reopen. So these are the attribution to the global growth development. But what about our own country? Because we know our own country very well. So mostly in Malaysia, yes, we have number one, but number two and number three are not really relevant to Malaysia lah. Okay, now we are going to Malaysia setting. So in 2022 budget, our finance minister has already tabled his budget. So Malaysia forecast GDP growth to be around 5.5% to 6.5%. In the first quarter and second quarter, we see that this has been achieved. This figure has been achieved. So we have yet to see what is the output in the third quarter and fourth quarter, which is now because we are in October already, which is in the third quarter and also fourth quarter. Our budget 2023 is going to be presented this month, I think. This month. So we are going to see before we achieve the third quarter and the fourth quarter, which is 2022 GDP. So the 2023 budget is going to be announced already. So we think. I'm sure we are economic student. We are economic graduate. We know between the presentation and the real life, right? So, okay, since this is the Department of Statistics Malaysia presentation, they have already put the graph very nicely, so showing year-on-year growth as well as quarter-on-quarter growth. So this is the Malaysia real GDP growth. So now we see here, second quarter is 8.9%. We see first quarter 2020, very low, 0.7. And then we see it deep down to negative 17.1 in second quarter 2020. But then it moved up again in the third quarter 2020. because at that time Malaysia already learned something how to face the pandemic COVID, and then in the beginning we have like a forced PKP, forced MCO. We cannot go everywhere. We cannot go anywhere. We have to get a letter of approval by the police before we go to nearby border as well. Okay, and then later Malaysia learn a little bit, and then they release and make the movement a little bit easier to companies, because the industries they cry a lot in the first PKP, because of that the companies cannot operate, and then in the year one after the PKP, the company made a very big loss, and then they have to terminate staff. I'm not sure about other countries. So in Malaysia, many workers have already been unemployed due to PKP. Okay, because of that, we see there is another blessing. We saw the growth of gig economy. I'm not sure the student you are aware of gig economy, but I'm sure you understand about Grab food, right? Or Food Panda. Okay, you see people nowadays they prefer employment, something like that they where they can work at their own pace and their own schedule. Okay, and at the bottom we can see the monthly real GDP growth year-on-year percentage lah. Okay, now is 8.9%. Are we going up or are we going down? See in the quarter-on-quarter and the blur color, see the 3.8 going down to 3.5. So this is the reason put forward by our Bank Negara Malaysia. Okay, the factors are as a result of expansion in domestic demand. Because of the MCO, we could not go overseas, right? Then everything has already been invested in Malaysia, the domestic demand. Because of that, the economy in Malaysia are supported by the domestic demand. That also is a savior to the country. I'm sure Indonesia is also the same. Continued recovery in the labor market. Okay, we see that our labor market is a bit stagnant during PKP, because the labor from other countries like Indonesia, Nepal, Vietnam, and many other countries, they could not come to Malaysia to work because of the PKP, MCO. Resilient export, particularly for E&E product. Malaysia, even though we have MCO, the economy is a bit problem because of the movement, but still they are operating during that PKP. And then a lot of countries, they rely on the products by Malaysia, especially on E&E. We see this sector is the most hot sector in Malaysia. Of course, there are other sectors which are also demanded by many countries, but E&E is the number one currently exporting the products overseas. Okay, so the last claim is the ongoing policy support which is provided by the government. Okay, now reality. Okay, are these going to be the same in the third quarter or in the fourth quarter? Okay, current policy we see the OPR has already been increased in the first quarter. Domestic demand, we see that current market we see that the borders have already been open. Malaysian can travel overseas. Okay, we saw that in social media there is a report on Malaysian going abroad to Hat Yai. Okay, compared to Langkawi. Yeah, so there is a flow, a flow of the money to our neighboring countries lah, Thailand. So domestic demand is a little bit shifted lah. Labor market recovery, we see that many workers from other countries have already been permitted to come and work in Malaysia, and then Bangladesh as well. Bangladesh, they make our plantation a lot easier. They make plantation because in Malaysia we face very hard about the labor supply, especially on the hard work like the plantation on that. In manufacturing, we don't have a lot of problem, even though we still need foreign workers, but plantation especially kelapa sawit, the palm oil where that because of the lack of supply of labor, many plantation they could not harvest their produce a lot. That's why their income has already gone down. Okay, this number 4 still remain. Okay, and number 5, reopen international borders. So I'm sure that Malaysian are going to go travel overseas a lot. Then the money is going to go out again. Okay. We hope that the export are going to be higher for product other than E&E as well. Okay, like travel also, we're going to hope there is an increase in tourism, especially in Malacca, because during PKP or MCO we saw like a ghost town, Malacca. Nobody around Malacca, and then the tourists also could not come to Malacca. So we hope that in the third quarter and fourth quarter is going to increase the tourism. I have also my master student did research on Malaysia tourism. He graduated already. He's from Kalimantan. Okay. He did a research on GPS navigation, the GPS navigation system used by tourists for local and as well as international tourists. So from his result, he showed that mostly his respondents are local, because at that time there are not many international tourists because he surveyed in Langkawi, in Lembah Klang area or Klang Valley area, as well as Malacca. So three areas he investigated. So the result a little bit skewed Okay, so these are the hot economic sectors, services and manufacturing sectors, which are the drivers. I hope that Malaysia is going to reinforce the manufacturing sector, because during 1980s we saw Malaysia is a tiger is tiger in manufacturing. But nowadays the manufacturing is going down because of the relocation of the factories to China and India Okay, but now we read in the news that many European and as well as American factories they have already moved out from China. Okay, so they prefer other countries because of certain reasons So let's see what is going to happen in the third quarter and fourth quarter economy. Okay, this is introduced in Malaysia in 2010. In 2010, we are hoping that we achieve rakyat quality of life. This is the new economic model for Malaysia. So we are aiming for higher income, sustainable, as well as inclusiveness. What are the measures? Okay, what are the measures? So we target the population to be US 15 to 20,000 per capita by 2020, which is a little not achieved yet by 2020. Inclusiveness, we hope that it enable all communities to fully benefit from the wealth of the country. Roughly, mostly, the Malaysian have already achieve this benefit. And sustainability meets present needs without compromising future generations. Okay, this has to be worked very hard by the Malaysian YBs, Malaysian YBs yang berhormat, the cabinet Malaysian cabinet. Okay, these are the characteristics of Malaysia in 2020, which is market-led, well-governed, regionally integrated, entrepreneurial, and also innovativeness. We saw in 2020, some of these have already been achieved, but in 22, we are now in 2022 already. We need to work harder on this, especially on the entrepreneurial innovativeness, and then regionally integrated. We are working hard with our neighbors, Malaysian, to especially with the kereta api laju, kereta api laju. And then well governed, this one is a bit subjective. Okay, so our cabinet will work out on this among themselves, our politician especially. So market led is a bit worrying market led. Okay, so this is the gig economy that I mentioned earlier. Many people, they prefer short-term contract or freelance work compared to permanent jobs.
There is 6 minutes more.
6 minutes more, 6 more minutes.
6 minutes more.
Okay, this is the last slide last slide.
Oh.
Okay. So way forward, I want all the students to think how what do you perceive the world is going to be in the 2022, especially in the third quarter and fourth quarter. What is the world is going to face, and then your country, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. Okay, and then how can we Asian become number one again in the region? Okay, so can you write some of the answers? What are your perspective about the global economy, about your country economy, and about the Asian region economy? How we can collaborate and move forward in order to make our region become greater again. Because we saw during in 1980s, in late 80s as well as early 90s, we saw Asian the among the tigers in the world, very. But now we see European are going to excel in the world economy. India and China, we see a little bit shaky, a bit shaky. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. So I want you to think, okay, what are your ideas on our region economy? Okay, all right. I think that's about all, Prof.
Yes, very good.
Thank you very much.
We are welcome. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, very interesting sharing for Mr. Yusri. You can do shut down first the screen right now, please. Shut down your screen first. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, right now to go to question answer. There is some question direct to my email. I will to read the question for Ibu Kus first from Maula. Very interesting regard the scope of tech issues in Indonesia, especially regard tech ratio. Still low right now. Is it regard weakness, intensification, or extensification policy? What you think for solution to develop tech ratio in Indonesia? This is the first question. And second, about self-assessment method as independent way to report of tech less control right now. Do not person or institution to punishment for the businessman is not good to report. Regard of bad report. Their income statement until now is there good control regard of self-assessment method to continue. This is the second speaker for Ibu Kus, and then there's a question for Mr. Uh, Yusri. Very good presentation about world economic overview. We get the new information. Uh, I will ask regard of inflation right now in UK and Europe as the impact of Russia and Ukraine war. What will impact seriously for ASEAN countries, especially for Malaysia and Indonesia next year, based your perspective? This is the first speaker, Cik Yusri, and the second, especially this is the question from Yani. The especially Malaysia economic. We read in the e-newspaper that Malaysia economic not good situation right now after COVID pandemic. I want to ask you, especially regard startup of new entrepreneurs, what the phenomena in Malaysia right now? Itu masing-masing dua pertanyaan yang saya ambil dari email. And then there is one person will to ask direct. Mr. Pandu tadi angkat tangan, angkat
Yeah,
jari,
Prof.
mau tanya
Yeah,
langsung. Boleh,
I
sila.
want to ask Miss Kustrihandayani, why
Mhm.
is if British crisis or inflation how effect in Indonesia or Malaysia with
Oh, good.
effect in British and recession inflation in British English, how
All
effect?
right. Oh, good. Good question. Relation the question to Mr. Yustu. Therefore, Ibu Kus, you can to answer around 7 minutes for the 2 or 3 question, and then Mr. Yusri next to answer. Please, Bu.
Okay, thank you. This is the question from Maula.
Mm.
How about tax ratio in Indonesia? How about intensification and extensification? Tax ratio in Indonesia is very low. What the weakness? Intensification now, our government is already give intensification and extensification, but not tidak secara penuh gitu ya. Jadi intensification about text base or is already done. Extensification is already done, but not in force, not full force. Yeah. So our government, and the second question about self-assessment itself. Self-assessment itself in Indonesia, less control. That's right, less control. So with the new administration, tax administration, we have a system that will solve that problem. One system for all, for intensification, extensification, for control in one system. If you have a trace in digital, in penerimaan, in revenue, So the DGP can trace you. So don't use digital to show off your revenue. Yeah. Don't flexing in YouTube about your flexing in YouTube about your income. The DGP will come to you if you flexing in YouTube. That's already done. That's already done. A YouTuber chasing by DGP because they're flexing on YouTube about their income. Yeah.
Alright.
Okay. That's
What do you, Mr. Pandu?
yeah.
Question.
Okay, about
Impact
Mr.
of
Pandu about
inflation.
inflation. Yeah, inflation in Indonesia. Indonesia have inflation too. Not
Oh.
only not only in Malay, like Mr. Yusri said, in Indonesia too, oil, cooking oil is up. Apa namanya? Chili, we need
Yeah.
chili,
Yeah.
is up. Uh,
Yeah. The,
already like that.
the,
Maybe
and
Mr. Yusri will continue about the inflation. Indonesia have.
okay.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Reza.
Yeah. Very good and smart answer. And now, the last answer from Mr. Yusri. Please, about two question
Okay,
two.
okay. Terima
Plus
kasih Prof dan juga
Pandu.
Ibu.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one on inflation. Inflation, the effect to UK and Europe. So what is going to impact Malaysia and Indonesia? Like Ibu could say, yes, currently all countries we have inflation, but how each country manage the inflation, and that is the most important thing, because we cannot control the uncontrollable item. We cannot control the war. We cannot control the output by other countries, right? So every government, they have their own measures how to overcome the inflation, right? Especially in Malaysia, the government give subsidies and then we make things a little bit more expensive. And then people will spend less, that will not increase the inflation further, right? And then the borrowing also, that's why the Malaysian government, Bank Negara, they increase the OPR, right? So that will reduce the inflation as well. So those are the fast measures to overcome the inflation lah. Okay. I assume that all countries, they will do the same. They will not issue monetary policy lah. Okay. For the second question on the startup, right now Malaysia is very hard pushing for entrepreneurial. Okay. Malaysia, in every school, from the primary school to secondary school to higher school to universities, Malaysia, what we say, Malaysia try to embed all our curriculum with the subject of entrepreneurship. Okay, so in that subject of entrepreneurship, like our faculty, we aim that after graduation, the student, some of them will become an entrepreneur. And then the government supported. They give money, they give loans, they give grants, they make the registration of business become easier. Okay. That's why we hope that our younger generation will become more entrepreneurial in this coming years lah. Okay, so I would say that the process for starting up is not difficult in Malaysia, very fast. Okay.
Okay. And boleh share sikit macam mana technopreneurship in UTM dibuat untuk student, supaya student saya ni yang entrepreneur tahu apa yang berlaku dekat U Faculty.
Okay. Macam sebelum ni MCO kan student online learning jadi banyak aktiviti tersangkut dekat situ kan, jadi masing-masing berada
itu.
di rumah ni.
Maksudnya macam ni, di Uni KL kan ada technopreneurship juga kan. Jadi di UTM juga ada. Apa programnya technopreneurship itu dari semester 1 ke atau macam mana? Mungkin dalam 3 minit boleh jawab, sebab nanti akan dibuat khusus tentang technopreneurship. Ni kan ekonomi.
Yang macam tadi slide saya kan, saya ada cakap ada 4 program di FPTT. 4 program Jadi salah satu program adalah Bachelor of Technopreneurship 4 tahun.
Okey. Kalau gitu macam inilah kita akan buat di satu session lagi khususnya technopreneurship kerana ini about ekonomik. Kita punya masa tinggal 5 minit lagi.
Baik. Saya pun ada incoming call.
Okay, no problem. Okay, right now that closing remark from Ibu Kus and then Mr. Yus, sebelum kita berakhir ada kata penutup Bu. Nanti di akhir sekali Kang Indah akan share the refreshing video, the last but not the closing remark 1-2 minit, silakan Bu.
Okay, thank you.
Dan saya harapkan Ibu boleh berhubung terus dengan Pak
Mr. Yusri.
Riset ni perkenalan pertama, selepas tu kita buat banyak collaboration, silakan.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself, the company, individual, taxpayer, prepare yourself. If the core tax administration system is done, prepare yourself to be more obedient in paying taxes, and don't forget your traces in digital will be known by DGP. Okay, Mr.
Yeah,
thank you.
We said, don't worry, be happy,
Be
but
happy.
you must be control financial, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Please closing remark from Encik Yusri.
Pandai Pak Prof. Okay, actually we are all individual are the source of economy. So if we are richer, then the economy is richer. So we become a millionaire.
Wow.
But don't forget pay tax.
Yeah,
pay zakat as well.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you very much.
Ada saya tanya, kalau tak bayar zakat berdosa.
Ya,
Kalau
betul.
tak bayar zakat berdosa apa tidak?
Ya, bayar zakat. Di Malaysia we dapat double tax deduction.
Ya, betul.
Jika bayar zakat nanti boleh tolak cukai.
Boleh tolak. Indonesia sudah berlaku tapi Malaysia awal lagi. Kita sudah amal ke.
Tak apa, nanti sooner or later boleh.
Ya.
Indonesia luas kan.
Baik. Thank you very much for the sharing because we are the early